And now let me look at the implication of the chain rule for general integration, for the computation. So there is, well, basically, whatever you learn about differentiation has some impact on integration, in the sense that if you understood something about differentiation, you may understand something about integration. Basically because we now know that integration is the inverse process. If you understood something about process one way, you may understand something about the inverse. And the chain rule is something we understood about the differentiation. So what we understood was that if you have a function of x, and then you have an intermediate variable, I will call it u, and then you understand that f is actually a function of that variable u, and u is a function of x. Then chain rule tells you how to differentiate. Differentiate with respect to x by differentiating with respect to this intermediate variable times u prime with respect to x. Now, what we have to deal with in integration is the inverse process and the process of recognizing antiderivative. Right? So we have to anti-differentiate a function. Let me call it integrand. And what this chain rule tells us from the point of view of integration is that sometimes when you see that your integrand is equal to that product, you can change this integral to an integral of a function of u. So how does it work exactly? What is it that you do when you try to integrate? Well, if you represent the integrand that way, then these two terms considered together represent exactly du. Right? Well, we didn't talk about differentials yet, but if u is a function of x, what is du? Well, you may not know what du is, but you know what du over dx is, right? It's u prime of x. So this formula suggests that du is simply u prime with respect to x times dx. So what you see here is exactly du. And what it means is that the integral that we used to have with respect to x can be written as an integral with respect to u. And that's all we are going to do, hoping that that integral will be simpler. So this is all we do with this so-called substitution rule. So in integration context, this is called substitution rule. What it says is that if you have a function f of x and you want to integrate it, you may want to introduce a new variable, u, a variable of x, a function of x, and then if you work with this integral of f with respect to x, what you do is you rewrite this integral in a new way, using only variable u. So to do that, you find du, which is u prime of x times dx. And what is it that we have to do here? I replace dx with what? With du divided by u prime of x. I leave f of x there, and then I hope that this expression, f of x divided by u prime of x, can be written in terms of u easily.